Here's a new, unique-looking mid-ranger, the Nothing Phone 2A. Besides the looks, what's the deal with this phone? Is it a solid mid-ranger worth your cash? I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's find out in our Nothing Phone 2A review. The original Nothing Phone 2 came out a while back, and it was more of a flagship device. Now we have the Nothing Phone 2A, which is a mid-ranger that aims to provide many similar features, but at a lower price. What you get here includes a large battery, a competitive OLED display, and a solid chipset for the class, and of course the unique design and light setup. Just like the Nothing Phones 1 and 2, the 2A has a see-through back, which exposes the inner workings of the device. Most of these visible parts be just for show though. You also get a horizontal camera bump, which you don't see often these days. We're not sure what the back is made of. It's grippy, but collects smudges and dust quite easily. You get a flat, matte frame, also of an unknown material. The phone feels solid and comfortable in hand. And the Nothing Phone 2A does have ingress protection, rated at IP54 against dust and splashes of water. It is worth noting that while previous models had a blinking red light on the back to indicate video capture, here there's a red square, but it's purely aesthetic. Speaking of lights, if you've seen a Nothing Phone before, you might be aware of this feature, the glyph LEDs. These light up for different purposes. You can use them for notification alerts, as a ring light for the cameras, or as a countdown timer. They also give visual feedback for things like volume control and charging. There's a dedicated glyph interface for controlling their behavior. And you can use the Composer app to create custom glyph patterns / ringtones. Now let's go over the display. It's a 6.7-inch 1080p OLED with a 120Hz refresh rate and Gorilla Glass 5 protection, nearly identical to the screen of the Nothing Phone 2. However, you don't get LTPO tech here, which means that the refresh rate switching is a lot less dynamic. You get a smooth 120Hz, which drops down to 60Hz when the phone is idling to save power. We couldn't get games to run in anything higher than 60 FPS here for some reason. The display itself looks good. It's plenty sharp and has support for both 10-bit color and HDR10+ video. The screen brightness is good too. We measured a maximum of over 660 nits with the manual slider, and this boosted to nearly 1000 nits in auto mode when in bright conditions. For audio, there's a stereo speaker setup. These earned a loudness rating of good, and the sound quality is pretty decent, with clean mids and highs and some bass. There's an under-display fingerprint reader on the Nothing Phone 2A, and it's both snappy and reliable. And the phone comes with 128 or 256 gigs of storage, which isn't expandable through microSD. The interface of the Nothing Phone 2A is Nothing OS 2.5, running on top of Android 14. It's quite close to stock Android in functionality, but you get heavily customized aesthetics. These include custom-looking monochrome icons, pixelated fonts, and plenty of custom Nothing widgets too. You can even turn the whole interface monochrome, which is a Nothing sort of thing to do. There's interconnectivity and support for various Nothing earbuds through the Nothing X app. And for software support, the Nothing Phone 2A will get 3 years of software updates and 4 years of security patches down the line. The chipset of the phone is a customized variation of the MediaTek Dimensity 7200, called the 7200 Pro. The customization supposedly brings some extra power efficiency, but the details are scarce. Of course, it packs less punch than what you get on the original Nothing Phone 2, with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, but that's expected. In benchmarks, the Nothing Phone 2A doesn't exactly impress, but the CPU and GPU scores are decent, and middle of the road for the mid-range class. In your day-to-day use, the Nothing Phone 2A is able to run smoothly, with no obvious hiccups, stutters, or slowdowns. It's good for some casual gaming too. The phone also boasts a passive cooling system, and demonstrated great sustained performance in our prolonged stress test, with hardly any throttling. Like I mentioned before, the Nothing Phone 2A has a larger battery than the Nothing Phone 2 at 5000 mAh versus 4700. That, together with the power-efficient chipset, helped the 2A dominate our battery life tests, with an overall active use score of 15 hours and 53 minutes. And the individual scores were excellent across the board too. The phone supports 45-watt charging, and there's no charger in the box. With a proper adapter, we were able to charge the 2A from 0 to 59% in half an hour, and a full charge took an hour and 3 minutes. Unlike the Nothing Phone 2, there was no wireless charging support here on the 2A. Now we have the cameras. There's a 50 megapixel main cam on the back, together with a 50 megapixel ultrawide cam. The setup isn't exactly the same as the Nothing Phone 2's. The camera sensors are different, and the ultrawide cam here lacks autofocus. The 2A's main camera captures 12.5 megapixel photos due to pixel binning. Quality is solid, but not perfect. There's a good amount of fine detail in the frame, but also quite a bit of rather aggressive sharpening. Colors are on the saturated side, but look good. The dynamic range is good too. When it comes to people and faces, the main camera does pretty well. Skin tones come out looking nice and natural. While there's no dedicated telephoto cam, the 2x digital zoom from the main cam is nearly as good as the regular shots. In low light, the Nothing Phone 2A will use night mode processing automatically. The shots have plenty of detail in the frame and pretty low noise. Shadows are well developed, and so are highlights. Light sources are reasonably well contained, but could be better. The 4K video from the main camera looks pretty great. Detail is good, and there's practically no noise. Colors are a bit on the saturated side, and the dynamic range and contrast are good. All of the cameras have electronic stabilization enabled by default. On the main cam, you can notice some wobble. The main camera captures solid low-light videos, with plenty of detail and well-developed shadows and highlights. Some surfaces are a bit grainy, but it's nothing too severe. Like the main cam, the 50 megapixel ultrawide cam also captures 12.5 megapixel stills. These are decent, with okay detail, colors, and dynamic range. In low light, the photos are again decent. The detail is good, and the dynamic range is surprisingly good, with well-developed shadows and highlights. The ultrawide cam also does well with video capture. 4K clips have great detail for this sort of camera. And now we have selfies, which come out in 32 megapixels. These look very good overall, but from up close, the skin does look a bit artificial. So that's the Nothing Phone 2A. It delivers a lot of what we liked from the flagship Nothing Phone 2 for a much lower price. Overall, it's a solid mid-ranger with a unique design, a nice display, a decent chipset, and good camera performance. And the battery life blows the competition away. It's not perfect, there are a few nitpicks here and there, but overall this is one of the more unique mid-rangers around, and it's worth recommending. Thanks for watching, guys. Here are some alternatives to the Nothing Phone 2A on our channel: the Xiaomi Redmi Note 13 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy A35. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.